Hey, let me know. I'm doing a sound check here. When you come into the live stream, let me know if you can hear me all right. And we're going to go over your comments today. I'm just going to do a sound check myself. The other thing I wanted to tell you before we start. Oh, that sounds good. Okay, that sounds good. So, anyway, today we're going to go over the comments from the last video. The last video, and then I want to let you guys know before I start. I'm using this headset now because my podcast mic broke, but I think this works okay. Um, Raising Roots Abroad is on X now. I've had the account since 2025, but I only posted cryptocurrency or something on it. So I decided to uh, put Raising Roots Abroad on it today, and I'll drop some videos, some posts, and I paid for premium, so I have a blue check mark on there. Let me show you guys. I'll share my screen. There we are on X. That's us, Raising Roots Abroad. And you can see the blue check mark. And in the comments, you might see a bunch of Raising Roots on X. I was just trying to add it there, and I made a couple mistakes. And when I deleted it, it still shows on the chat. So just ignore that. But the link is in the video description and also here in the chat. And it's Raising Roots Abroad, but my tag name is Flansbaum66. But I'm sure if you search Raising Roots Abroad, you'll be able to find me. Okay. So how are you guys doing today? I can't wait to go over the comments here in just a few minutes. And I'm going to start doing the live streams at 5 p.m. I think this is a better time instead of 3. I think I need to update my account. And so that's the one announcement before I get into the comments that you guys left on the last video. And if you haven't left a comment, jump in there, leave a comment, or leave a comment in the chat here, and I will highlight your comment. Okay, just like this. Therese, good afternoon, Therese. I'm glad you're here. Oh, we have a question here. Therese, I'm glad you're here. We have a question. This is interesting. What's your religion and how does it affect each other's faith? So that's your question. Oh, I guess you mean for my wife and I. Well, we're both Catholic, um, and but we're not super religious. I would just say we're super spiritual. Our life is focused on God, and we both believe in Jesus Christ, and we pray, and our kids go to Catholic school, private school. So I guess the effects it has on our each other's faith is we think it's very important, and not necessarily the original religion itself, but the spirituality, the connection with God is very important. We both manifest everything in our life. So everything that comes into our life that's pushed out into our physical world is because of what we think and the words we say. And it's not a belief, it's just the laws of the universe, it's God's laws. So it affects our life because we're aware of the spoken words. It affects our thinking. So we're just careful with our spoken words, like not to cause harm to each other. Sometimes we do because we're just human. We're aware of what we put into our minds we're going to focus on that. And what we think and what we're focused on, it's pushed out into our physical world. So let me give you an example with that. Um, when our children are sick, we will just imagine them. We'll imagine that they're well, and we'll see them as well. So we don't see them as sick. So we see them as well. So to go a little deeper into this is God is giving each one of us, if we believe it or not, it's true, imagination. And we are 100% imagination. And when a person wakes up to that fact and believes it's true, our lives will change and our mindsets will change. And so when our children are sick, like right now, David has tonsillitis or something, and so he has a fever. And this is right now, actually. He was behind me, laying down. So my wife and I do before we go to sleep, we imagine the wish fulfilled, like David's well, and how we know he's well. We see him doing things that he does when he's well. He likes to go with me. You see on some of the videos, and we work out. We do strength training to help him with his football. And so I just imagine that before I go to sleep, I see him training with me, and he's running around. He's happy, and then I get a really amazing feeling when I do that, and then I fall asleep. And then David will be well very soon. And my wife does it in a similar way, but I'm not exactly sure how she does it. Um, but we believe that God can do anything, and God is a part of us. And our words and our thoughts, there's David, our magic wand. And I woke up to that first, and then Caroline woke up to that fact also. So everything we do, health, finances, uh, children's health, families' abundance, abundance, our own success, and people see success in different ways. But our own success is being happy, living in a home filled with love. That's success for us. And just so you guys know, another update is I have a video coming out tomorrow at 8 in the morning. There goes Caroline. So let me share that with you. I'll just share that with you in just a little while. Let's go over the comments. This is from the last video. This one, the last sanctuary country exists. Here's why I'm early. And what it's about, if you didn't see it, you can watch it. And it's just about the Philippines is where God, family, and marriage still matter. Most people will figure out too late, but right now the window is open for people to come to the Philippines. And I talk about that. Okay. And in just a little bit, I'll share with you the video that's coming out tomorrow. I think it's my most emotional video. Okay. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay. So let's go over the comments. There's 27 in this one. And we got Cabby Bebe 2332. You got love and gardening. I think it's a good hobby to have in the Philippines. And yes, as you can see, the background, it's just beautiful. And yep, my wife does a lot of gardening. My son David likes to garden, and we do a lot of gardening. Most Filipinos also do gardening in their yards where we live here. All over the place, you'll see that. Okay, the next comment. Wow, thank you for talking about this. I agree 100%. I married a Filipina, and we will be moving to the Philippines in large part. This is from Super Dane 73, 2 days ago. So he's going to take his Filipino wife, and they're going to be moving in the Philippines in large part because of the clear hatred of straight white conservative men. I have a 5-year old that I want to raise away from that hatred. My oldest will be going to college in a strongly conservative university in Texas, Texas A&M, in ROTC. So that's like military, probably going to be going into the military. They're doing that in college, I guess. And Texas A&M is a military college, so okay, which should provide him some protection from insanity there. The military, which I served for 24 years, will be a safer place for him to grow and prosper, I pray. And so Super Dane 73 is going to be moving to the Philippines. And let's talk about this because he says, in large part, because of clear hatred of straight white conservative men. Okay, let's talk about this for a second. Let me change my view here for you guys. Okay. So Dane says, for the large part, why he's moving here, what I just read is because of the hatred for the straight white conservative men. And a lot of a lot of Filipinos I'm getting messages from in some of my viral videos are saying that same thing. They notice that. And for them, being Filipinos, maybe they experience that too in their own way. The hatred, if you're not in the narrative, the people that are okay, whatever those races are, be it illegal, I'm saying that word, illegal immigrants, hear my words. I'm not saying immigrants, I'm saying illegal. Those that are in America illegally, it's breaking the law, okay? But I experienced that too back in the 80s and 90s, but before I came here in 2010, I was experiencing it a lot more. And it sounds crazy to people because the narrative that they see on the news is that the racist are the white people. But if you're a white male in America, they don't want you. You don't belong, especially in the sanctuary cities. You might get beaten in the street. Never happened to me because I know how to fight and I will protect myself. If someone punches me, I will protect myself. And my background is I was a professional MMA fighter. I finished my career here in the Philippines. And so I'm not great or anything. I just know how to defend myself, and I'm not afraid to defend myself or family. But in the Philippines, I don't have to worry about that. But when I was in America, I didn't really get in fights because I walked around and I wasn't afraid. But I noticed just what he says here in the comments that is very strong. And if you watch Twitter, some of the posts there, you can see that, and some of YouTube by the popular YouTube channels, you'll see that stuff. All right. All right. So let's switch back here. Yeah, and we'll read some more comments. That looks pretty good. Let's do it here for a minute. All right. So when I see MAGA, Australia, Philippines manga, US fight, 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 you know what? I might have share some of the same viewpoints, but I'm not radical. But I'm not going to share political views to create divisiveness on the channel. I have my own, but I'll just keep them private. And I don't want to push a narrative. I'll just push my own experiences and my own viewpoints. And if you leave a political viewpoint, I probably won't read it. Okay. This is from Carlito. This is a Filipino. Me too. I want to raise my daughter here in the Philippines. Stay a few years for residency only, then study and live here. It's her choice after college if she wants to go to Canada because she's already Canadian. So, maybe she has dual citizenship. She's here in the Philippines, but she's already Canadian. That's great. Canada's not the same anymore, especially the values, respect to elders, etc. God bless. God bless us. Yeah, God bless you, Carlito. God bless us all. And that's great that you're going to allow your your daughter to make that choice. Same with us. If our kids really want to go to Canada, America, or some of those other places, they can make their choices once they're adults. But I will let them go. But if it's not safe, like if there's a chance for something really bad to happen to them, like a big chance. I'm not. I mean, anything bad can happen anywhere, but I'm talking about a very high likelihood because they're conservative. I will really not really want them to go, and I will tell them, please don't go. But when we're adults, we all make our own choices. But I'll protect them the best I can. So, Carlito, I agree with you on that one. Just like you said, you agree with me. Um, so I think Carlito's here in the Philippines, but probably spent a lot of time in Canada. And Canada's the West, and there's Europe. There's a lot of places that are just swung in a different value system where they don't believe in God. Illegal immigrants can run amok and own businesses, get funding from the government, and can have rights, housing, healthcare that their own citizens of the country don't have. So as long as it's safe, it sounds like Carlito will be cool if his daughter makes that decision. And it's kind of like we just put our faith in God, right? We let God handle those things, right? We remove ourself when they're adults. It's their choice, and we don't control things. We realize that, right, Carlito? Okay, let's go to Ida. Ida is here and close to us. She's a family friend. She lives close to my wife's family home in San Isidro. She said, "Great video, Kuya George, and God bless you and more blessings to come." Thank you, Ida, so much. Appreciate it. And I did reply to all these people. Here's Ida. Thank you so much, Ida. God bless you and your family too. All right. Thank you, Ida. Appreciate that. Let's go through another comment and then I'll just check back to the comments here. I'll check back to the comments here on the live stream. So this is from John Paradise Garden. So, John, in America, Satanism influence is growing fast. Most of the people have no idea what is wrong in their society. No darn clue at all. The churches who's supposed to guide them to the righteous way of life has sold their soul long time ago. Wow. That's a very prolific comment, John. And I think you're right. There's a lot of evil forces. And you know what? Let's talk about this one because I want to say something about this. I want to say something. This is something that's interesting. I have an interesting take on this one because it just came to my mind when John mentioned this about the churches selling their souls out in America. You know, it's in some of these churches in America, they're still encouraging Americans to be married at a young age. And this is true. This is very true. They're encouraging Americans to marry Americans at a young age. And I think that is a very stupid thing to do because in America most people get divorces and the religion, it doesn't matter if you're religious at all because most even the religious people, religion doesn't matter about your character at all. You can say I believe in God, uh, whatever religion you are, you believe in whatever religion. Just instead of saying God, say whatever religion you are, you believe in that. And then you're in America, so many people are on TikTok, they're on social media, they have their cell phone, they're scrolling all the time. Even if they're religious and it's a woman, they know they have lots of choices. And they hide the fact that they don't show the true numbers of divorce in America. If you get married in America now, you're probably 100% going to get divorced and you're going to lose everything. You're going to, if you have any money at all, being young, I'd be surprised if you do, But if you're one of the lucky people and you have money, you have a house, you have a good job, you have children, you got married, you got kids, you're gonna if you're a man, you're probably be lucky to have visitation rights, but you're going to have to split all your assets and your property. So why would the church be pushing that for their young people? They can push faith, and things have changed in America. And it's really, if you really care about the person in front of you, you're going to be honest with them. And you're going to say, you're young. We can help guide you, but it might not be a good idea to get married right now. Focus on yourself, focus on your spirituality, focus on helping other people's, focus on getting through what your goal is, and then there's plenty of people that you can help in your local church, the people that surround you. So people might give me pushback on that, but if you're in America, I would not be pushing that, and I do not know why the churches are. I saw a very spiritual young man that made a recent video on TikTok, and he was married, and within 2 months his religious uh, girlfriend that he knew for a long time, they got married. The church was pushing them to do that, so they did in their 20s, and within 2 months they were already divorcing. And then they got separated, and then he believed in faith, and he's going to this church, and they're telling him to stick with it, don't lose her, do all the things through God. And meanwhile she was cheating on him with one guy, her boss, and then was cheating on him with many men after that. And then he woke up and decided um, he had to get a divorce, and she kept coming back. He read a message on her phone that said to her boss that she was using him to get money. He saw that. He still has a really good heart. He was trying to keep it together, and he realized he can't with this progressive mindset. He realized he couldn't. So he woke up. So anyway, that's what I want to say on that from that comment. Thank you for the comments. And we'll be going through some more, but let's go to live chat. Okay. Let's go to live chat here. Let's pull up some of the comments here. Okay. So Jose said there is a belief that the brain is a transmitter, meaning positive, negative thoughts emanates from that. Some call it the law of attraction. Yeah, that is a law of attraction. But this one I don't know. I don't really know about the law of attraction, but God's law is more in line to um, Neville Goddard's teachings, and that is not the law of attraction, and it's not a belief when it becomes an experience in your life. When you experience something through God that is a secret to most people, like they don't know how to do it, they just pray by begging, they drop to their knees and beg to God. Um, it's not the best way to practice your faith, because God usually doesn't answer us when we beg. But when we live our life in the wish fulfilled, it's called the law of abundance, I believe. Is You're talking about the law of attraction, law of abundance. Um, but Neville Goddard's is law of assumption. I'm glad you left this comment, Jose. I love talking about this stuff. I've made some videos, my past videos, where I talk about Neville Goddard's. My wife's here. It's okay. Okay. So Neville Goddard's law of assumption. Let me share my screen real quick. Because law of attraction, I don't know too much about it. I mean, I used to believe in that. I used to kind of follow, but there's limitations to that because the law of attraction is not living in the wish fulfilled. You're just believing in things and then you're not really using your imagination. Let me just show you this one. Okay, I think you guys can see that. Okay, stop sharing this screen. Wait. Okay, I messed up on that. Sorry about that. You guys should be able to see this screen. Okay. Okay, there you go. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so Never Goddard's law of assumption. Whatever is subjectively assumed to be true and felt as real will inevitably harden into objective fact. By living in the end state of fulfilled desire, you change your consciousness, causing your outer world to reflect the inner reality. So I'm going to just put this in terms that make it easier to understand. So what he's saying here is what you believe true and you see it true and you believe it true, like you're walking your life like it's true. Like say you want to have $1 million, you walk around in your life as if you've already received $1 million. So you'd be living in the wish fulfilled. So you're living from the wish fulfilled. You're living in it. So you're walking around like you have $1 million. And so you believe it so. And what happens is when you do that, you walk around like you believe it and you say things like, money comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources in money comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources from multiple ways or something like that. I have one I say, money comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources in increasing quantities. Or money comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis. That's the one I say. But what you do, you don't just say those words because that's you have to believe it true. So you say it, and then when you go to sleep, you don't have to sit there and do it 24 hours. You just say those things maybe 3 times, 10 times. And then before you go to sleep, you see yourself. How would it look to have $1 million? So you would see yourself and just like in a house, like a big house, and you would see yourself and then who's around you when you're in that big house. Maybe it's your wife if you're married. Maybe it's your husband if you're married. Maybe it's your children. Maybe you see yourself with your husband there and then your husband will say, "Isn't this amazing?" Something like that. "Oh, I'm so grateful you did this, hon." Just something that makes you feel something very strong. And then you feel that assumption that is true. And so you feel that, and maybe it moves you to a really strong feeling. Maybe you cry. And then the other thing you do to make it real is you would touch something in that house. Maybe you'd sit in the furniture and you know how a leather couch feels. You know how a certain chair feels and you feel it just like it's real. Maybe you have a balcony and there's some steel out there on the balcony. You know what it feels to touch it. So the sounds you hear, maybe your wife, if you're a man, your wife would say, "Thank you for doing this. You're so amazing." They just say something like that. It's in your imagination, and they're very happy and grateful, and so it makes you grateful. And then you would feel yourself. the feeling, so it's the sounds. You hear your wife say that. Maybe if you have kids, you hear them playing, laughing and screaming, things that you've heard before a million times. So you hear that. Your wife said that. Then maybe for me, I touched the balcony. It's made of steel because I know what that feels like. And so I have the hearing, the sight of the beautiful house I want, and then the touch. Okay. And then if it's like you want, say, like someone wants delicious pizza. So maybe you're going to add what it tastes like. You've had pizza before, what it tastes like. So you just imagine the pizza's here at your house, it's on the table, your whole family's there eating it, and you know what it smells like, you know what it tastes like. You see it, you smell it, you hear your family, you touch the pizza, right? What it feels like. And that is the law of assumption. You're putting yourself in the wish fulfilled and you're living in it, from it, not to it, like far away from it. And then if you do that in a certain amount of time, if you really do that, it's going to be pushed out into your physical world. It comes true. And if you don't believe that's true, it's God's law. It's just think of all the bad things you've thought of in your life that have come true. Like when you had anxiety and you can't stop thinking about whatever's causing your anxiety, and then the anxiety keeps coming back, and it might even push you to have to go to the hospital. Um, or something other negative. You saw someone get in an accident, you they had an accident, you saw it before it happened. People call it deja vu, clairvoyance, whatever. But you saw that before and then it actually happened. That's something very negative, but that happens to people all the time. Remember the Titanic? The Titanic happened in the early 1900s, I think, what, 1906, 1916, something like that. When did the Titanic happen? So when did it happen? Yeah, 1912. And there's a book. What book was written about the sinking of the Titanic? Titanic before it happened. Yeah, 1898. There's a famous author named Morgan Robinson. He wrote The Wreck of the Titan. He called it the Titan, but the story is almost identical. I read the book, and it's almost identical. The only thing that's different is the lifeboats. I think there's a larger amount in his book, and he even called it the unsinkable luxury liner. And then that was written in 1898. A lot of people read the book, and then in 1912, the Titanic happened. So, so what is that? That's the law of assumption. That's God's law. So people can deny it as much as they want, but it's the truth. It's kind of like when it happens to you and becomes experience, you'll always live your life like that. And it's because God gave us our tongue to speak. He gave us vocal cords, which is a miracle. And God also gave us our imagination, which talked about in the Bible quite a bit. Our imagination. And each one of us has that. So whatever you do with the imagination, it will push out into your physical world, good or bad. Because God is so kind to us that He allows us, because He put a part of God inside of us, that He allows us to command with our assumptions of what is true, and we push that out into our physical world. So if we imagine bad things and we fall asleep, we got in a fight with our wife and we fall asleep with those emotions, then He's going to give us a lot of bad things because we're commanding that. And then God, being so kind, will just answer us, good or bad. Okay, so that's my opinion on that one. But to me, it's not an opinion at all. It's God's law. And I have faith that that's true. Okay, let's go back to some more comments here. And thank you for that one, by the way, Jose, for that comment. Watching and listening from Caloocan, North Metro Manila. And that's old piano stoner. All right. I love your name. All right. Well, thank you for your comments. Thank you for coming here. Ted Bahal said to simplify, it's just having positive thoughts. No, that's not true at all, Ted. Positive thoughts will only get you so far. Positive thoughts will only get you so far. Bad things can happen to us. We can have positive thoughts, but we focus on negativity. Even we have positive thoughts, uh, what we think and what we say and what we hold true in our heart, where it pushes out a emotional feeling, is what will come true in our physical worlds. Positive thoughts don't get you so far. Positive thoughts are good. They're good to have, Ted. I agree with you. But the difference with the positive thoughts is you're not necessarily living in the wish fulfilled um, to come true, what you envision to come true. So we have to live, we can have positive thoughts, but still not live in our wish fulfilled. Like every day is a great day. It's wonderful. Wonderful things always come to me. Those are positive thoughts, right? They're wonderful. But we have to use our imagination in a skillful way to attract God's abundance to us and success, whatever that is to the person. Because what's successful to me, Ted, won't necessarily be successful to you. We see that in two different ways. But you're right. Positive thoughts are a very good thing to have in our life. But positive thoughts are different from the wish fulfilled that Neville Goddard talks about. Um, Catherine Ponder. There's a lot of people that talk about the law of Neville Goddard's law that he talks about, the law of assumption. So thank you, Ted. Ted's always leaving good, a lot of good, uplifting, positive comments. Appreciate it. Jose said, law of attraction advocates generally combine cognitive reframing techniques with affirmations and creative visualization to replace limiting or self-destructive negative thoughts with with more, with more what? Part two, here it is. With more empowered, adaptive, positive thoughts. A key component of the philosophy of the idea that in order to effectively change one's negative thinking pattern, one must also feel one must also feel through creative visualization that the desired changes have already occurred. This combination of positive thought and positive emotion is believed to allow one attractive positive experience and opportunities by achieving resonance with proposed energetic law. Feeling is a secret. There's Therese. Thank you, Jose. I like what you said, and it's true. That's what that is. Feeling is a secret. The difference with what Therese is talking about, feeling is a secret, and Neville Goddard's law of assumption. The difference is it's much easier to do without having so many things you have to focus on. Da, da, da. It's like you can just spend like a couple minutes. Just you don't even have to say any affirmations. You just can have the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and that's it. You're done. And then you live in it for hold it for like 10, 20 seconds if it's possible. It's not always possible, and then it will happen in your life if you focus on that. If that's your focus, like for me, I don't have any hair. I'm bald, right? But if I had hair, I would be putting it out like it's on fire. It's on fire. If I don't put it out, the fire's going to consume my hair and probably my head and maybe all of me, right? So I have to put it out. That has to be my main focus. Like I have to put it out like, ah. and then the fire will go out, right? That's how you have to pursue the wish fulfilled. And the feeling is the secret, as Therese says, because Therese has experience with these laws from Neville Goddard. She follows other people too that she's mentioned. Joseph Murphy. There's a lot of other people. Catherine Ponder. Um, the one I mentioned sometimes. The one I really like too. Florence Scovel Shinn. There's just so many. There's an American guy, a few American guys that Therese has mentioned that are very good too. It's just they follow that law and they teach people how to do it, and a lot of them make money off of it. Neville Goddard, Joseph Murphy never charged a cent, um, but they probably made money off of books and other things. Florence Scovel Shinn also, she wrote quite a few books, made money off of that, but they just taught their students and didn't charge anything, kind of like how Jesus was. And I really love people like that because it makes me believe more to go ahead and find out what they're doing so I can build my own faith because they can't do it for you. Okay, Ted again, Ted Bahal. I think the brain is a much better receiver than it is transmitter, though. Okay. Um, it's a lot of people believe that. You have that power as a receiver. You have great power, you're right. But when you learn how to align, and you might already know how to do it better than me, Ted. I'm just saying, when we learn, not you, when we learn how to align with with God in the way that God wants us to align, through our thoughts, our beliefs, in the way we pray, and it's all connected. We call that aligning. And then that's when you know how to really attract as you believe the receiver, but as a transmitter, we are just as powerful because we are the ones that attract the things that happen to us. So we push those out. So we have to be the transmitter. We have to learn how to be the arrow that might, if one believes in Jesus Christ, we're the arrow shooting that arrow. And then Jesus Christ, some people might believe Jesus Christ is the arrow that shoots to God. And then God um, pushes out into our physical world our command. And that is just the truth of the laws of God. That is the truth. What we believe, what Jesus said, what the great I am. I am the great I am, but God is greater than I. That's the secret. And each one of us has to figure that out. That we are the great I am. That God gifted us with that. But we know that God is greater than us. But once we realize that, beyond words, beyond the spoken words, but the spoken words is a way in. Our thoughts are a way in. But the way to align that is through the spoken word. Through the spoken word that God gave us, we can drive that into our imagination without force. And when those all align, we can just push out miracles in our life. People call them miracles, but they're not at all. They're things that each one of us has, and God sees them as not a miracle. But it's us that believes they're miracles especially when it happens for the first time, when we really are aligned. And you see it all the time with people just tend to focus on the negative things, just like the narratives that come on Twitter, the narratives that come on YouTube. When people push out those narratives all the time, then lots of people believe it true, what they believe in, and then they start speaking it. They start marching in the streets and beating each other up, thinking that a man can be a woman or a man. They believe in the pronouns, the woke culture. You see that. Then they believe that illegal immigrants have rights, just better, even better than citizens. And then they believe it's true. They believe they're true and they're fighting for it because they believe it's 100% true. And so they push those out into their physical world. You see it all the time. That's God's law. That's what they wish. So God is giving that gift because God loves us so much. He gives us those gifts to push out. So you see that. And it's easy for people to believe that because you see all that negative behavior, all that nonsense. But they don't believe, most people don't believe that they can do it in their physical world and they call it miracle and they don't believe it. But just as easily as that, we can create wealth, great health first, wealth, all kinds of abundance, and uh, more faith in God. We can create a closer marriage with our wife by seeing the wish fulfilled. For me, how I do that, we've been married for a long time. We've been together for 15 years. We have 4 children, and we're not perfect. But the way I do that, the way my wife does it, is we see each other as the perfect wife for me. Even though she's not perfect, I know that, but I see her uh, not on a pedestal, not like that, but I see her saying, "I love you so much. I'm so grateful I married you. I'm so grateful that you're just a wonderful husband to me." So to me, that's a perfect wife because I'm needed, I want it, and I belong. And then she sees the same thing in in her imagination, and then we push that out into our physical world. So we don't always get along, but we're just easy on each other and we're patient. We have ta'as ka'ayo, patience, but we're not bragatory. We're humble people, but there's nothing wrong with believing that's true. Even if people say, well, you're humble, Garo, you think you're so high because you think that's true. No, no, we believe that's true, but we're very simple people. Okay, so let's go back to the comments. I love this. We got so many comments in the live streams. Um, Jose, thank you for all this. Just show Therese because I love this one. Feeling is the secret. I have my light on my face here. The background's dark. Mom, David, can you please turn on the top light? No, in the middle. No, in the middle. Shut that off. There you go. That was it. Thank you. Okay, now we have more light. Thank you. Let there be light. Okay, so yeah, that's what Ted said. We went over that. The brain is a trans receiver. Wow, amazing, Jose. But is it? You know what? It's something to think about, you guys. When tomorrow I'm coming out with a video tomorrow at 8 a.m. in the morning, and let me just while we're here, let me share that with you. Give me a second to share with you. And by the way, you guys, if you leave a comment in these newer videos, we're going to go over most of the comments and then I will talk about your comments. So watch and comment. It's wonderful. If you share, it's great, but you don't have to. Okay, let me just show you this one. Let me share this. You guys can, this is behind the scenes. Okay, I'm taking you guys behind the scenes. This is coming out tomorrow at 8 a.m. in the morning. And it says we lost this. And the title is What America Destroyed, the Philippines Didn't. And you can see in the description there a priest at a funeral taught me the difference between a house and a home and why America has one, but the Philippines still has the other. Okay? So that's the clue, you guys. This is my most emotional, heartfelt video because I just went to a funeral of our family friend, and I talk about what I learned from the priest there. A Catholic priest gave a sermon, and just from a phrase he said. Okay, so I made the video. It's tomorrow at 8, and the clue is there. You can see in the. Let me go back here. I'll give you guys a clue what I'm talking about. Look at the picture. Look at the thumbnail. It says we lost this, and what am I doing? I'm starting to draw something. Okay, so that's the clue. If you want to see it, it's to tune in tomorrow. It's a 16-minute video at 8 a.m. or whenever you have time. And leave a comment. And then the next live stream next Sunday at 5 p.m., let's change that on while you guys are here. Let's go to customization to the home tab and make sure I have that written in on my profile. New video twice a week, Sunday live streams. We'll just leave it like that, but they're at 5 p.m. now, okay? So we'll leave it at that. All right, let's come back to the comments. This is great. The brain is a trans receiver. That's awesome. The brain is a trans receiver. It's just like in America on the woke, they say a man if he changes is a trans, right? Or if he believes he's a woman, he's a trans. If he changes, or I don't know what he is, but if he changes his sex, he's not a trans anymore. He's a woman because they don't believe in the biology that we of that one. So a trans receiver. I just thought of that one. All right, what's next? Therese said it's a brain and heart coherence. Wow, you guys are getting pretty deep here. It's a brain and heart coherence. So what I wanted to say about these comments, these last two comments from Therese and from Jose, the brain is a trans receiver, and Therese, its brain is heart and cohesion. When we die, because my mind went there because of the funeral I went to yesterday, which was very, very sad because of what the family was going through. And I'll talk a little bit about that tomorrow. I just have deeper realizations about what you guys are talking about, just like you probably do, right? When we die, so for me, I didn't talk about this in the video, but I was seeing the family friend in the wish fulfilled, right? And I was seeing him in a tunnel, like a Bardo of becoming. Um, and Jesus was guiding him because that's just what I believe, right? And that's my faith, right? Jesus was shining his light, and then the Bardo for this person that died was going through his essence, the invisible part of us, was going through those Bardos and was going into becoming his essence was going into connecting with God, and then pushed off to wherever you believe. I have my beliefs what happens next, but I'll just leave it there. But at that point, when we're invisible, there is no eyes, there's no ears, there's no tongue, there's no body, there's no mind, there's no heart, there's nothing to hold on to. There's nothing to hold on to. We are that invisible essence. And some of us that have had out of body experiences know exactly what that is because you do not have control of that. But you can be in that, and then all of a sudden something happens, and you've had that near death experience where you're that essence, and then you get pushed back into your body because you freak out or something. That is there's no mind, there's no brain, there's no heart. As I mentioned, no tongue, body, ears, eyes, tongue, nose, brain. There's nothing. There's no suffering. But what is that? It's invisible, right? You can't see it. The naked eye, we can't see it. So it's something much more that God gave us the gift besides these words that we label, right? So when we're in the receiving the when we're living in the gift fulfilled and receiving the wish fulfilled, the gift fulfilled, the wish fulfilled, when we receive that and see that, receive receive that and live in that as that light body. People call it light body, but it's not even that. It's invisible. So it's just the energy that you're aligning with. It's not hard to do that because light is very God gave us the gift to imagine light so easily. But when we try to imagine other things, sometimes it's hard. But invisible can be like light, and there's just something connecting with us, and we're receiving that from the great I am. We are the great I am, but we're receiving it from something much greater than us, which we call God, right? Many of us here today call God. Many of us call it Jesus Christ. Many of us call it Jehovah. Other people call it if they're Muslim, they believe something else. If they're Indian, they might call it Brahmin. If they're Tibetan, they might call it Green Tara, Guru Rinpoche. It's just what we each call God. And then we cannot push our beliefs onto other people. We can encourage them when they're ready, if they want to believe what we believe. But it's not proselytizing. What I'm talking about is not proselytizing. It's the gift that God gave us that's beyond all of this. But when we aligned, we can go deeper into those places. And my wife Caroline used to maybe think I was crazy when she saw me doing these things. But later, when she saw the gifts that came into our lives, maybe at first she called it coincidence. But later, she wanted those things in the way that she believes in God. She's Catholic. She believes in Mother Mary, in the saints. She believes in Jesus Christ. Um, she did it in her way, right? She wanted those things in her life, so she didn't think I was crazy anymore when she started experiencing them herself. Because it's not a religion, and you don't have to be religious to receive the gifts from God. You just have to align. And people call it spiritual, right? The words get us there, our thoughts get us there. But once we experience these things, we can go much farther along the path. And for me, I'm not saying I'm anything great. I'm nothing great. I am what I am. I understand that truth. So what other people say I am, I don't accept those gifts at all. You are a bad person. You are a good person. You are good. You are bad. You are high. You are low. If someone says good things to me, of course I like those things, but I don't accept the gifts of negativity. People say maybe the positive things, maybe I'll accept more of those, right? But I don't accept when people attack me because I know what I am. And what I am is what my words say I am and what my thoughts believe true because that's the gift that God gave each one of us. And words only take us so far. We have to experience the wish fulfilled. And what did that's what God says too. What Tree said, feeling is a secret. That's what Neville Goddard said. When we set the table, when we set our table as it is already true. For instance, I'm just going to use Jesus, but I'm not saying you have to believe this, right? It's such a wonderful example. When Jesus had he came to a point where he didn't have enough in the physical world to feed all his disciples and all the people that came there, right? So he just believed that he he believed it true, and he he lived in the feeling state, like Therese says, and then he received that. God blessed him with, what did he bless him with? Lots of bread and fish to feed everyone, right? I don't know, wine, whatever. But those are the examples before us that people think's impossible for us to do. But if you believe it is impossible, it is. If you live in impossibility, then it's impossible for you. But there's a lot of people in this world that don't live there. And just because a person lives there and doesn't believe they have these gifts and they'd rather live in a negative place attacking other people, there's people like me that you can't you can't cause us harm by your words. But we're just simple people. But we've experienced the truth and we're aligned with God, but we don't think we're great. We just follow God's law. That's it. And then we always have beginner minds. There's really nothing to teach. It's up to each one of us in our own, what Neville Goddard says, our own wonderful imagination. It's for us to find that, or for it to find us when we're ready. Or you could spend some money and get a hair transplant. Yeah, that's true. Us bald guys, right? But it's not worth it when you realize like you're for me, like, I don't know, when we get a certain age, Ted. For me, I'm 60. I'm almost 61, and for me, I just always practiced. I always what's that word I'm looking for? Contemplated my death. So for me, I don't care about those things anymore. I don't care. I just let it fall away. I have no one to impress. And I have a lot better things to do because I don't spend a lot of time in my own brain, in my own thoughts for my own self. I spend a lot of time on ideas. That's where I spend my time, on ideas, and then living in the ideas succeeded. And I have a lot of them, so um, driving them home. As a matter of fact, one of the wonderful ideas I have that I manifested is um, that where we my wife and I have a company here in the Philippines. We have a number of companies, but and I'm not bragging at all. I'm not telling anything about, oh, we're so rich or something like that. It's just as an example of the living in the wish fulfilled and pushing out into the physical world. Because before, when I didn't do these things, pray to God in the right way, I always wanted those things and prayed for them, but never got them. And I was a nurse, and I never got. I was always working for the man, right, or working for the woman. It's working for someone else. But when I learned how to push out these things in the physical world, aligning with God, what He wants for us, that's all. Then these things got pushed out in our world here in the Philippines. And the people that say it's impossible to do, the impossible happened for us because we didn't see it that way. So anyway, we have some companies in America, and we used to have a ton of real estate companies. Close, I don't know, just a lot. I don't want to say a number to you, but we were pretty big with that. And we lost like 99% of those companies. And we could have just buried our head in the sand, but we have lots of ideas. And so we manifested other successes with companies that would need us. And they need us, it creates jobs for the Filipinos. Even if the Filipinos cause harm to our business, we never give up on the Filipinos because there's Filipinos that are loyal that won't do those things. So we always push out in our physical world the companies that need us, and then we just see the end of it. We don't see the companies. We just see like my wife does it in her own way, and the way I do it is I see the me having meetings with the company, and they just say, George, your company's amazing. Your wife and your company, it's amazing. You guys our company is so amazingly successful with your Filipino VAs. What do you need from us? How much more do you need? And what can we do for you guys? And that's what I see. And it's just happened over and over again, because just the alignment and then God just answering those things. It's me standing out of the way, and letting God take control. That's it. Because I know God is so powerful, and I'm just pushing my commands to God in the way that God will answer them. And and so I have a meeting this next week with a very a very big company, and they do air conditioning and heaters all over in America. And his goal 30 years ago was to be the number one company doing these things. Um, that's what he did. He manifested all those things. And so he's pushing his business out. And we have a meeting with him, and it just came out of nowhere. I don't really advertise much, and I don't call people. I don't make videos on these things. It all comes from referrals from our current companies that refer to us, and it comes because we're pushing this stuff out, and then God's answering it. So we don't even know where it's going to come from, and it comes, and then so I have a meeting with this person. We don't know how many people he had once. We don't know, but in my manifestation, I imagine that he needed 5 people, 5 VAs, and they're going to make a lot of money. And so that. So that being said, that's it. Um, so it's in the greatest things that God answers. He answers when we want things for ourselves, but when we want things for other people, and we're imagining them being successful because they have to want the same thing. So for us, it's our VAs. So when we do that for other people, I have an ant crawling in my ear. When we do that for other people, God answers those faster. That's what I just noticed. I'm bald too. Jose, Jose's telling, but Jose already said he's bald. So I'm bald too. It's cheaper in Iran, about $600, but not possible right now because of Islamic IRGC, Islamic Republic Guard or something coalition. I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, it's not, are you, I'm bald too. It's cheaper in Iran, about 600, but not possible because, are you there, Jose? Are you a Filipino in Iran, or you're just following what's happening there? See, it's whenever someone is too much in their belief to one side or the other, where it's causing harm to other people, it never works. So when you push, you're like a radical. You could be a radical Christian, a radical whatever religion. When you're radical, it's not good, and eventually it's going to fall. So we'll just leave it at that. It's cheaper in Iran, but yeah, but it's not possible right now. Yeah, I don't know. It's bad things are happening there. I saw that. Jose, again, Jose. Biologically, there is a brain and gut axis. Also, there are neurons in heart, in the heart, neurons. Yeah. Yeah, biologically. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Jose. Biologically, there's a brain and gut axis. Also, there are neurons in the heart. Wow, amazing. Jose, how do you know these things? What's your background? Is just something you're interested in your spirituality, or are you doing something? Um, are you an MD, some kind of MD, a PhD, or something? Just wondering. Yes, it's all just worldly flesh here on earth. In death, we are spirit only. Yeah. Right on, Ted. Right on. That's it, buddy. Totally agree with you on that one. Jose, the brain in heart coherence, then when it's what is called in quantum physics, yeah, quantum physics, there you go. There you go. That's a wonderful thing to be knowledgeable about. Quantum physics. That's where all this comes from. Quantum entanglement, which is what quantum computers use. Amazing. Yeah. I used to study quantum physics. That's what I first got into. That opened my eyes to believe. Who's the one guy that was preaching that like 30 years ago? He's a doctor. He's here. He's here, and he's in New York or something, or somewhere in America. He's written so many books. But I used to follow his books. I'd read his first book that he wrote about quantum physics, and it really opened my mind. Quantum entanglement. Yeah. In quantum computers is yeah. The coding, the quantum computers is amazing stuff that is there in cryptocurrency. They're coming out with uh, they're following those that these companies are making, and there's some crypto companies like that. Speaking of that, you guys, I've been talking about a crazy word called Akinaki, and I have over 500,000 of those Naki tokens that you cannot trade yet. I'm just telling you guys, I'm just putting that out there. Do your own research. I'm just telling you, if you're Filipino and you want um, abundance, monetary abundance, I'm talking about, it might be in your best interest to check out Akinaki because it's free. And you can mine the Knuckle token, which I'm talking about. I have over 500,000 of that. I've been in since the beginning. And they're releasing a DEX where you can trade. They have a license to trade, and it's the only decentralized, truly decentralized blockchain that I know of. Truly decentralized. Bitcoin used to be, but it's controlled by very wealthy people. So that's all. Akinaki, research it on your own. I talked about it a couple weeks ago. Thank you, Jose. Ted, I live by an old saying: sticks and stones can hurt my bones, but names can never hurt me. Yeah, that's so good, Ted. That's such a good one. Yeah. Sticks and stones can hurt my bones, but names can never hurt me. Have you heard the other one, Ted? I heard people say, I'm rubber and you're glue, and whatever you say bounces off me and sticks to you. It's kind of like that one. I didn't know that one when I was younger. I knew this one, what you're saying. Sticks and stones can break my bones, but names can never hurt me. Or the sticks and stones can hurt my bones or break my bones. Can never hurt me. I know that one, right, from a young age. But I just heard the rubber and glue one, probably about 8 years ago or something. I'm in Las Vegas. Jose again. Originally, I'm from San Francisco. I'm an engineer for There you go. That explains it. I'm an engineer for Silicon Valley. So you're an engineer. So do you do in your engineering? You probably work on code, right? You're in Silicon Valley, so that's the biggest. Some of the biggest companies. I think that's where Google is, Amazon, YouTube, right? Silicon Valley. So do you do programming with your engineering? Do you write code? Are you that kind of engineer, Jose? Or with your engineering, are you doing that? Or are you building? That explains your intelligence. You have a brilliant brain, Jose. Okay, last thing, because it's getting late, you guys. We're, last thing, let's go over the comments from the video that I was going over. Let's do a few more. The last content. Okay, and I'll share my screen here. Okay, so we're going back to Okay, it stopped. Okay, let's go back and I'll share my screen. And we'll just go over a few more comments and we'll end this. Okay, a few more comments. No one's here, I think. No one is in the that wrote a comment on this last video. Joey Javier will write because he leaves a lot of comments. Will say, a good thing and best decision, Sir George. You're enlightened how bad your country as we speak. And yes, our country may not be as rich as the first world country, but our values are here. The community focused, family oriented, still respects elders and family, 3 to 4 generations in one house. Another good point video, sir. God bless and more videos of awareness for foreigners that live in the West that are having a good life here. Thank you, Joey. Um, I truly appreciate seeing all your inspiring comments. Okay, let's go over one more. I This is from Anjo Delos Anjo Delaros Reyes. So Anjo, I agree with much of the U.S. woes from the left, but the right is not that much better with Trump and his extreme right. Okay, never mind. We'll just leave that alone. Okay, Olive, may I suggest kindly include videos with background like family activities, etc., while you're telling stories? Yeah, Olive, I have probably 100 videos of just that which you mentioned. You can watch a lot of my other videos. Right now, I'm focused on kind of talking head with a beautiful background here in the province because that's what the algorithm will push out my videos so I can get my message out. And it's a lot easier for me to do more than one video a week, not doing big productions. So that's why I'm doing these ones because it's much easier for me to go and talk about a topic and just minimal editing to put out 2 and maybe 3 a week, but at least two. If I do the big editing with the background, I only could do one a week if I'm lucky. And so it's kind of an issue to get more out. But when I have time, Olive, I sure will do that. Um, but otherwise, you can watch. I have hundreds of videos that are just that. Um, if you and I'm sure you haven't watched all of those videos. If you maybe you haven't watched any of those videos, I don't know, Olive. I've seen you in other comments, so maybe you've watched some of those other videos. Okay, so let's stop sharing. And let me remind you guys before we go, and I'll look if there's any more. I think Jose answered me, so I'll look at that in a minute. I want to share my screen one more time. You guys, please join Raising Roots Abroad on X because I'm going to start making videos and putting them on X. I have a blue check mark. I paid for the premium account so I can do videos and I can also release content. I want to build that up because X also supports content creators, and right now is a really good time. I barely have um, I have 3 followers, you guys, because I just made it. I was talking about cryptocurrency, but not really making any content at all. I was just sharing like Akinaki, some of the cryptocurrency I support, and that's pretty much the one right now for the past 2 years. But now I just made it Raising Roots Abroad, so it's at Flansbaum66 is my handle. But I left in this video, in the video description, in the comment section, I pinned it. So please follow me, you guys. Um, it will really, that's my handle there. But one more time, I'll share it here. I'm just really asking you guys to support that, just like you do YouTube, because I'm going to really start pushing out content because they're pushing out. Elon Musk said, let me stop sharing here. Elon Musk said that he will pay content creators very well, um, and he wants long form content creators, and that's what we do. YouTube is mostly supporting. Mom, can you just lower a little bit? It's hard to concentrate. Sorry, Mom. Um, is YouTube's algorithms really supporting short form content? But I'm always going to share here. It's free for you guys. And I took out my links. I don't have any links. I'm not asking you guys to buy me a copy. I'm not asking you for PayPal. I'm just so grateful you're here in the community, but I'm asking you to support me on YouTube and also support me on X and follow me there because it's going to help me get the message out to more people in America and other parts of the West, Europe that are not happy and they want to relocate to somewhere else in the world and maybe they like the Philippines. And many, I'd say 70 to 80% of the people that support the channel with comments are Filipinos in America that are saying these things. They're not happy there. They want to come back to the Philippines. It was the worst mistake they made. They're glad that they have a job there, but they need to get back to the Philippines because they feel like they've lost their voice there in America. That's most of the um, yeah. Sounds like Akinakia. That it does. It does. Jose, I do code electrical, mechanical, anything to do with computers. Yeah, I knew it. That's why you understand these principles. Thank you, Jose. Jose, it's spelled like this, and it's the Aki Naki blockchain, and it was founded and created. One of the co-founders is the one of the founders of Tone blockchain. They just didn't think Tone blockchain. The only one that they really believed in after founding, help creating that is Bitcoin. But Bitcoin, I don't know what they believe about Bitcoin, but what I believe about Bitcoin is no longer decentralized because it's controlled by the big money bags that have millions of shares. Even the president of the United States has hundreds of thousands of shares. I don't know, and they made the reserve after Elon Musk, the founder of MicroStrategy. Um, all of these big corporations own. So they corner the blockchain. They manipulate it. Well, Akinaki, you can't manipulate. And the only way you can make the blockchain work is by tapping. But it's not like the tapping ones on Ton blockchain. So I'll just leave it for those who are supposed to find it. Um, it's and you can search it on crypto markets. It's the number 4 fastest blockchain right now without even being a live token. You can do your own research and join if you want. And for free, start mining the token just like Bitcoin, but you can do it on your phone very easily. That's a website. If you're interested in researching it, look at their paperwork and just decide if you believe in the coding. If you believe in the code, that's it. Jose, this is great. Jose said, I owned 10 Bitcoins in 2011, was 24 each. Wow. Do you still own the Bitcoins? And if not, do you mind telling when you sold it? If you still own that, you're a very wealthy man. I'm very happy for you. But you probably sold it at maybe you sold it at $24, which was quite a big profit from where it started. Okay, you guys, that's all I'm going to say for now. Thank you so much. Comment on the next video coming out tomorrow at 8 a.m. And I'll go over your comments on the next live on Sunday. Okay. So look out for my video tomorrow at 8 a.m. and I'll release one more video this week. Um, Not sure when, maybe Friday. and then we will have our next live next Sunday at 5 p.m. So bye for now. Thank you so much. God bless you and your families.